Should I call you Jay or Jamie?
So either or, mate. I'm not bothered.
Um, I'll call you probably Jay because it seems that's what most people know you by.
Yeah, it's all different. Yeah.
So look, I should have interviewed you like a week ago, a couple of weeks ago, before your big fight at FCC 34,
Yeah.
and you actually your title FCC welterweight champion, you defended it against wasn't it Afeez Oderinde?
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, talk to me about that. How is that fight? I mean, I when I looked at the social media when it's coming through on the feeds, I was like, okay, that's now even something better to talk about in the interview because now and still you defended your title.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I've watched it back. I got a lot of praise and stuff with me striking, but I felt I wasn't far from my best. With with calories being so shit for so long, and then a big weight cut, I felt flat on the day. I've never felt like that before the fight before. I only voiced it to a couple of people. Obviously, didn't want people to worry about it or not. I just felt flat. Didn't feel like I had no energy. Obviously, I rose to the occasion when I was in there with him, but I said before the fight, I'm definitely going to middleweight. Like I'm not doing this weight cut again. Like I
Mm.
even walked to get a coffee at like 5 o'clock on a Saturday, and then my legs were tired when I was walking back. It weren't even far. I was like 10 minute walk, and my leg I just felt tired. I thought, fucking, hell, I'm drained. Yeah, I hadn't hydrated properly.
Wow.
But I was like after my wake up, I had indigestion. That bad. I only had one meal. I couldn't get anything in me. Like I didn't feel well. So I,
Mm.
I've defo just I'm bigger now. So when I fought in middleweight, I weighed in 183, and I ate and drank the morning of the weigh-in because I was that light. And now I only get down to 188 and then cut. Do you know what I mean? So
Yes.
like I'm way bigger now at welterweight than I was when I was in middle. So it's just if I didn't win that title in December, I wouldn't have fought at welterweight again anyway. But obviously I had to make championship weight because I won the belt that way. Then so
So when we see people with whether it's mixed martial arts or well, let's say within sports, like combat sports, when we see them walking around shredded at that weight, looking so ripped, actually the person themselves might be feeling really, really rough, really, really sick, and you still have to go out there and perform.
yeah, so I say to everyone, like when you get a six pack and that, say it's a myth. Like every time my abs come through, I'm miserable because I'm starving. I go to bed
Mm.
at night, I'm thinking about breakfast already. Like I can't wait to wake up and eat because
Wow.
everything's so measured and calculated. Like it's on. That's why I got my belly tattooed because I thought I don't want knowing everyone abs again, and then I ended up fighting again, and getting skinny.
I mean,
You'll see a much bigger version of me at middleweight. I obviously won't be as the lads I'll fight will be a bit taller probably, but um, I'll be coming in jacked.
so immediately after a fight, especially if you're competing in a weight division that's probably much lower than your normal healthy weight that you normally just go about your day to day, or when you're not, or let's say off season, or you're not competing, when you are after a fight, basically the following day you you eat loads of junk food, just everything. Basically, is that what you normally do?
Yeah, so I don't like to lose my shape too fast because you go from looking so good for like a long camp. I feel like it really affects me. I feel I get that depressed about it. I feel even when I'm not fat, I feel fat because you're so used to being a certain way. So the week, like I only had 3 days off. I normally just have like a pizza. I'll have a Mackey's. I'll have a little try all the shit food I haven't been able to eat. And once I've had it once, then I'm not bothered again. Then I start feeling shit. I start getting spotty and that because you're eating greasy food. And then
Yeah,
after like 3 or 4 days, I'm back. I'm counting calories again today. Just been out today getting all my meal preps and that. I've seen my calories are up now.
okay.
I've upped them, but I'm still tracking everything. Just because if you stop tracking everything and you get into sync of just eating what you want, and it's
Yeah,
hard then to get back into the cycle of
yes.
scanning it before you eat and stuff. Yeah,
Look, your fight against well, like you kind of explained that, but being the FCC MMA amateur welterweight champion, I mean, what is that? What is that like? Do you feel that? like I've heard fighters say this before that these are fighters in say the US scene, but they don't want to be regarded as the gatekeeper to that particular title or something. As in, is they when you're fighting, when you're competing, you already have the title. Now you're basically having to defend the title. Do you feel that added pressure that there's certain things you have to prove to certain people? So
Well,
there's a reason as to why you have to make sure you win this fight and make sure you keep the belt, keep the title.
so the title doesn't necessarily bother me. Like, it's just it's the fight. Like, I've never lost boxing or MMA now. Like, I couldn't give a fuck about the belt. Like, I mean, when I've won it, I wanted to win it. When I've won it, but then I've won it, I've won it. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're just defending. I'm fighting for pride now. Do you know? I don't give a fuck if he needs the belt. I don't. I've already got one. But it's El Mano, innit? Like you've got the prize on my head, and you think that you can beat me. Do you know what I mean? And that's the way I say it. Like, absolutely not. Let's have it.
Excuse me. Because I've looked at your fight records, your amateur fight record. It's very impressive. It's really, really good. And I think in one of the interviews you had not too long ago with the FCC, I can't pronounce his name, is it Tichenu?
Yeah, yeah.
You were saying to him that after this fight at 34, FCC 34, you want to go to pro. I think you're done. You've had enough amateur fights under your belt.
Yeah, yeah. So when I quit fighting years ago, I got a medical discharge from the army. So I'm not gonna go into detail because then obviously it's not really a weakness, but people could consider it a weakness. So, but I stopped boxing. Then I had plans of like continuing the boxing. I always thought of jiu-jitsu and I always thought I'd love to learn it, but I used to think it was a bit gay, to be honest. Yeah, it's like I'm rolling around the floor. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. That was my as a boxer or any boxer I'd heard to say, ain't fucking doing that and rolling around with the lads. But now I prefer jiu-jitsu over everything else. But I went and started learning it, and I thought this is fucking class. This is sort of new. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then it didn't take me long to start like submitting people, and then I just fell in love with it. And then I said to my coach, which is the best? He was trying to get me to fight, and obviously I hadn't fought in a few years, and I said, which is the best organization then to go and fight for? Because I only ever boxed when you box in the army, you fight the best of a battalion, so you fight the best out like so many thousand troops that they're pooling from. So you have good fights. And I stopped one of my boxing bouts in like 40 seconds, and it was a waste of time. I felt like I'd trained loads, and I got in there and I beat him in 40 seconds. It wasn't for me. I hate mismatches. Like, you see people fight someone who shouldn't be in there with them. I do a full camp for that, and what a waste of time. I'd rather be in there with someone who's going to fight me. Like, so we said FCC, and then I said, right, I'm going to go and get the title, and then we just sort of snowballed into that, and then I never really thought about the pro game, but we always do elbows and stuff in the gym. I was like, I'd love to throw them because I like to tear it up, don't I? So to get into close enough to land stuff like that, like I want to do that. But and as soon as I won that title in December, I said to my coach, I said, I'll defend it because I feel like you got to win, so you got to defend, haven't you? I mean, I'll go pro definitely. I'll have a good run of the pros. I've got a good few years left in me yet. I'm 30 this year, so another 2-3 years, I'm still fit, healthy, so I don't see why not. I think I regret it if I don't. Do you know what I mean? While I'm young enough to do it.
You do feel that I think I can completely understand what you mean. You feel that if you had to, there's a fight coming up when you're finally competing, you feel that if the fight stops so quickly, even if you won and you've had all that preparation behind you, training, sparring, nutrition, weight cut, everything else related and needed, you feel that probably that was all in vain because you couldn't really get a chance to really portray and let people see your skills and how good of a fighter you are.
Yeah, well, I got my coaching calls when I was in the army. So when I went boxing, I was coaching the novice lads who'd never boxed before. And then even some lads had experience before the army, and then they were able to fight, and there was a mismatch hard to get in, and they just smoke them straight away. And I hate that. Like, if I think it all works out like £1,000 a month for the meal preps petrol, all the one-to-ones, all the gyms I pay for. That's a lot of money to spend to go in there and just punch some kid's head in he has not trained, he might not have only done it for a few years, or it's not. I just feel like some people would like that because then they can be the local hard guy, but for me, like, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to fight someone who's trained hard and he's at the level that he is to fight me, because you'll never get better otherwise.
Yes, that's true. That's very, very true. You want a real serious challenge.
Yeah, I want to fight. Like, I want to be afterwards. I want to think, fucking hell, that was tough. That otherwise, what's the word? Someone puts nothing doing it.
I really should have asked you this next question, probably closer to the beginning of the interview. Can you just give a brief backstory on your background and how you got into combat sports overall, and then gradually ventured into mixed martial arts?
So my older brother served. He was a tanky. He boxed as well at the same sort of level. So he used to teach me to box when I was a kid, and then when I joined the army, then I was beeline for the boxing team. Soon as the boxing team was started up, it's all different in different units, different battalions, whatever. I was straight in training, and then when I got to Chester, it sort of like blown up then, and we had a really good team. We got to the army, the finals, the semi-finals of the armies twice. But you got to win as a group. So 7 weights. You got to win 4 weight categories to go through. So sometimes I'd be winning my fight, we still wouldn't go through because so many other people lost. Well, we win as a team, lose as a team, but it's quite frustrating for me. Because I always done really well in my fights, and I feel like you don't get to win anything. So I wanted to box independently when I left. I wanted to go down the army team. I asked a few times, but my chain of command at the time were a bunch of fucking assholes. And my sergeant major, he didn't want to release me. Do you know what I mean? Because he wanted me as his lance corporal to do the job of the rank that I was in the army. Do you know what I mean? But if I go and box, then you don't have me. I'm away. So he needed me for something. He told me no, so I didn't train. And then there's something called army individuals where you go and enter yourself, and the army team are there, and they can pick you then for the actual army team. I reckon I would have got picked, obviously with the experience before the army, and then I was won all my fights. And yeah, he said I could go a week before it was on. I just got back from Kenya. I think just on 6 weeks in Kenya, I was dead skinny. I hadn't trained. I've been living in the desert for weeks, and then he said I could go, and I was like, "Oh, you're an asshole! Like you saying I can go now because you know that I can't because I haven't trained. Because it'd be all the best middleweights that." Or whoever at your weight in the army that would go there to get picked to win it. Do you know what I mean? Because it's a big thing if you win it. You might fight a couple of times on one day and stuff, but yeah. And then I went back to Kenya and injured myself then, and then it went an option. I boxed with the injury I got, but I didn't do any running. I can't run anything, and I struggle with me running and stuff. So I have to do non-impact cardio and that. But I still make it work. I'm still fit enough, obviously. So just still make it work. Obviously, plus all the years of all the boot runs, training runs in the infantry, you don't do any. All you do is fitness. Basically, you learn your soldiering, but on day to day, all you do is fitness and just chill out. So if there's nothing to do, you just running every day. So you know what I mean. So imagine what everyone's knees are like. Everyone's knees are knackered. So much impact.
Excuse me. Did the what would you call him again? Is it the Lance Corporal or so?
No, I was a Lance Corporal. He was my sergeant major.
Did he see, or was he aware of how passionate you were about the combat sports and about the boxing you wanted to do? Did he see how much your heart was into it?
To be honest, mate, they change every couple of years. Every 2 years, you get a new one, new sergeant major. Obviously, everyone's promoting and stuff, and so some of them are really on board, and they would push your boxing, and some of them wanted you as manpower for guard. And because when you're on the boxing team, you just wear tracksuits and you do nothing. You might be on the boxing team for 6 months of the year, and you don't do any soldiering. You literally train 3 days on, half day off, 3 days on, full day off, and you just going all over. We done a fight camp out in Cyprus in the mountains. We do all mad shit, but you can't be touched by your company because you're busy. You're on battalion boxing. So some of them don't like that because they want you as manpower. So
Yep.
they don't give a shit. They're there for 2 years. They've got a job to do. You're off boxing, living your best life, and they need you for something. So they're going to try and keep you as much as they can.
Oh, you just explained that every year or two or so they get replaced by somebody else, so they're not there for the long run either.
No, no. Because everyone's always promoting, so it's all changed.
Yeah.
When you promote, you move. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I promoted pretty fast, but then I started boxing, so I career found myself then. So where I got offered to go and promote again a few times, but because I was boxing, I just said no because I'd have to go away and do like so many months worth of like courses or like junior Brecken or, and I was boxing. I was for fucking hour box. I had an easy life. I was wearing tracksuit all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like that Sergeant Major at the time, Pap, his name was. I hope he sees this fucking asshole. I reckon he had an issue with me because they like to like because they're the Sergeant Majors, they're like the boys. Like, do you know what I mean? They've been in the army years. You've got yes sir, no sir. And I was never scared of him. Like, he was a bit of a bully. Do you know what I mean? Like the way he just put you on guard, like he's fuck out, you can fuck your life around. And well, I was never scared of him. He was just a little man, just a little idiot man that I would have absolutely annihilated, but I couldn't because he'd put me in jail. Do you know what I mean? And he knew that I would do that to him, and he didn't like me for it because I just stand there and just look at him sometimes. When he'd shout and scream, I just look at him, like. And we remember he said to me once in front of there was like all the lads on prayer, like 100 lads, and he was like, I was in a tracksuit, obviously boxing. He's like, "Oh, but Davies, you think you're hard or something?" And I was like, "I am hard, sir." And he fucking hated me for it. He put me on guard or something. Do you know what I mean? He like changed the thing. But like it's little things like that. Like fuck him, I'll never let him have one over on me. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Just a
No.
little man making my life hard. But
Mm.
the armies are like that. Like when you're in, it's like they'll do anything to like brainwash you. You can't get, if you get out, there's nothing out there for you. Like I had 3 different people say to me, when you get out, you're gonna end up in jail and all this. You know what I mean? Coffee dickheads. Just because they can't leave because they've got no skills to go and do anything else in the world, and all they know is the army. Do you know what I mean? It's a bitter, toxic place. Like honestly, I wouldn't.
Really?
It's good if you're a young lad who's join and like you'll go and see the world and it'll give you confidence. But if everyone who stays in for long, like I done 8 years, so it's a little bit too long. Anyone stays in over 10 years, they just like they just like hate themselves. You can tell they're just like horrible people. Do you know what I mean? Like if you hate your life that much, leave. It's just a job. Do you know what I mean? But there'll be loads of people who'll see this who in the army think he's bang on the money because that's exactly what it's like.
But wouldn't okay? And I may be wrong in saying this, but okay. Let me say it first, and everybody out there listening or watching can come back with their opinions. But wouldn't you say that? Well, that's the army, and if you're in the army, if they select you to be part of them, it's something you should be proud of because you're defending your country, you're serving your country. If you know what I mean, you know that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, but look at the country now. Country's in shit state, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Just lie to us all about all that. Just lock us away. Just lie about everything. Boris having parties and like I'm glad. I'm like I went to Africa when I was 18, mate, and I was proud. Like it was. I saw that whatever wanted to do, but I wouldn't go to war for this country now. Not a chance. All them
Mm.
politicians, all just lie. All of them just lie, and the whole thing's just a scam, innit? You know what I mean?
In
Like
your eyes, you believe, and it's something I've been thinking of, and I do agree with you. The country is
it's
failing
not
right now
that.
as a country. Yeah. Would you say that basically that there's nothing to defend at the moment?
There's
Really?
nothing proud. Yeah, you can't even if you can't even be proud to be can't even be proud to be English anymore because you're a
Yeah.
racist. Do you know what I mean? You have St George's Cross. You're a racist. You can't be proud to be. It's just the country's on its ass.
I never
Like
understood that. I've never understood that. I
yeah.
mean,
You could say people celebrate St Paddy's Day more than celebrate St George's Day. Do you know what I mean?
yes,
Like
yes, yes.
it's mad. It's but like I just don't let it concern me. It's not that I'll never be called up again because of my discharge. If anything ever happened anyway, I'll never be called up. Not like I would go anyway.
There's a lot of things
I've
you
done my
just
bit now. Some other dickhead can go and do it. Do you know
there's a lot of
what
things you just said there that does make some sense. I
I mean?
mean, in this part of in this country, you do have every country in the world has the indigenous population. They should have that right to celebrate their culture and history, no matter how good or bad it is. I've never really understood
Yeah.
the racist element of hanging out, of wearing the St. George's Red Cross on the St. George's. I've never understood that. So I mean, yeah, you will have the racists, of course, but you do have the genuine, neutral, indigenous English people that want to celebrate their heritage, and there shouldn't be anything wrong with that at all.
Yeah, it's just the way the world. Wales has gone all woke, can't it? You can't say anything nowadays. Everyone's offended off something, aren't they? So someone would be offended off this because I said I used to think jiu-jitsu was gay. That would offend someone. Do you know what I mean? Like, just gotta just have the
Ah,
attitude to go for.
it's
Yeah.
madness. Look, again, you know, you've had a very successful career, especially where your amateur fight record is concerned. Your team that you're currently affiliated with, I hope this is still accurate. Monkey House Gym, is that correct?
Yeah, first started, yeah.
Tell me about that. As in, what can you say about the place? As in, your story with them and when you first joined them?
Yeah, so my mechanic is one of my good mates, Lotho. He trained there and he doesn't train anymore, but he did train there and he was like doing jiu-jitsu comps, getting like bronze medals, silver medals and stuff just as white belt. And I've seen him posting and he fixed my dad's car and then he said my dad, he was talking about that, and I'd seen videos of him striking, and he's good on the floor, but his striking was terrible. Dead sloppy, but he's obviously never done it before. He'll see. I always give him shit about it anyway. And then I said I'll come down and do some jits with him, but I think everyone used to say to him they're going to come and train with him. No one ever would. And then so my dad was telling him that I'm a good boxer because I'd never posted anything really with boxing. All the army boxing's not recorded. No one really knew. Like me civilian friends, they didn't really know the extent of how much I boxed. And he was laughing, saying, "Oh, your Jay can't box and all this. He's a muppet." It's like obviously just as mates do. So I just went there and gave him a boxing lesson, and
Mm.
um, and then we done loads of work together. And then I think it was like after like 3 or 4 months, I tapped him, and then that's when the penny clicked. Then, do you know what I mean? I was like, I'm good at this ground because I didn't really have to. I could focus more on the ground game and the striking because the striking came easier to me because I was the best striker in the gym from early on. Do you know what I mean? So um, I can switch southpaw or orthodox, so it was quite easy to teach me to kick because my footwork was good. Do you know what I mean? So it didn't take me long just to pick up the Thai elements of that, and then so everything was just ground game. Just could just focus on just me jits. Like I used to love going there and just learn jiu-jitsu. And then
Mm.
I can't remember last time I got subbed in there. It's been a long time now. That's why I was laughing against obviously because he said that I've got no jits in his post-fight interview. It's because he couldn't say anything else because he can't say I can't bang. He can't say I haven't got a good chin. He can't say I have got no cardio because it's proved all these things. But I'd never done that. I'd never grappled. I'd never like showed any jiu-jitsu. So and then he took me down and just lay on me. Do you know what I mean? So it's like he didn't even posture up to even give me space to try and even do any jits. And he didn't. He just wanted a rest, I think. But yeah, but it's a good gym, mate. My uncle Phil at PS Events, he's sponsoring the gym now. So he's sponsoring the fighters. So we haven't got a cage. You see, he's going to buy us a cage and get like a padded ball on it. So we can like start leveling up all the young lads coming through. Then there's quite a lot of lads. Like I think a lot of my mates and a lot of people that I know from like fighting background here, they're starting to want to come now. They want to come and learn the craft and stuff. So there'll be a lot more fighters coming from the Monkey House soon. So at the minute it's only me and Adam Shepherd. He's 2 and 4 fights at Monkey House. He's very good Shepherd though. Like I feel sorry for the next person
Oh,
that he fights. Like each camp or each couple of months, he's like he just levels up so much. Like he goes away and trains all the places. He's come back. He's teaching me things now, like with kicking and well, I do a lot of work with Shepherd with his hands. Well, he's very good. Yeah, like I think so. He's 2 and 4 now. I can't see anyone beating him now. That at his level, I think he'll just start going on a little win streak. It won't be long before he'll be in for like a title shout. I reckon like maybe next year. He's only young. He's only like he's starting when he's like 18. I think he's only 20. Like he hasn't even filled out yet. Like sometimes he hits me in the gym
yeah.
and it like it hits me as he hits me because he's so accurate with his hands. It hit me like boom and it'll fuzz me. I'm like, you should not. Like, I've sparred the heavyweights and that, do you know what I mean? And I'll just laugh at them, and they've got this little featherweight clipping me on the chin. I'm like, fuzzing me a little bit. I'm like, fucking hell, like, he hits hard. I think it's more the accuracy than the power blow.
He's
If you
that.
want to watch, so yeah, he's one to watch, mate. Yeah, he's a dark
He's
horse.
definitely that good because you even said that you feel sorry for his opponent,
Yeah,
so
he's good, man.
you're sure of him winning.
Yeah, like I struggle to ever tap chef now, and I'm much bigger than him. Like when we grapple, like I'm all over him. Obviously, I'm manhandling, but I'm a lot bigger than him. But he's like an eel. He's always getting out of everything. Like every now and again, he's like snatching submissions on me. And if he was only like 10 kg heavier than what he is now, he'd fucking twist me up. Do you know what I mean? He was good on the floor.
Okay, normally when you're you got to fight, although now you say you have plans to move to professional to the professional scene. In general, when you've got a fight coming up, what do you normally do as in for just a fight preparation? Because I think it was you that I spoke to, is it about a week ago or so? I think you said your nutritionist had kind of let you down or so. I think, was it, no, probably
No,
wasn't it,
no, no.
someone else.
I had to source. I had to because my best mate who lives here with me. I was in the army band. He was a PT. He doesn't do it now, but he was. So he helps me with it, and I've sort of like understand my body as I've always been in and around like the weight training stuff. So like I, I know how my body reacts to a certain amount of calories per day with because I'm pretty OCD to be honest. So I go off a training program and work training. Everything's like on the hour to the hour all day every day. Um, so I know what calories will get me to what weight. But my weight stopped coming down is because I weren't eating enough good fats. Do you know what I mean? So I had to like adjust. But yeah, I think I just because I didn't fight till December. Well, I didn't fight until Christmas, really. I put a bit of too much size on in between. So I didn't get out of shape. I just got bigger, and then I was coming down with too much muscle then
Ah,
to make
okay.
welterweight again. Do you know what I mean? So 1,800 calories for the last 6 weeks before the fight is just not enough calories a day. Plus, do work for the full day's work, and then train at the end. It's just I'm just starving all the time. It's like starving yourself. You're malnourished, and then you do a weight cut, and then you fight, and then even more malnourished. It makes no sense.
Hmm. Have you, and it's something that still sticks with me now. A particular fighter from Ireland told me, excuse me, he uh he told me that he has seen some situations, I think he included himself, that he's lost so much weight, so much body fat that certain organs you can feel your brain just vibrating subtly in your skull whilst just going about your day to day, still preparing for the fight.
Yeah, so I find it so. I've always I body punch all the time. Like I always body hunt. I always have. That's how I took to boxing from when I was younger. So I think it's like if I hit you with a good job, usually you hit me with a good job. If I hit you with a good body shot, you usually try and find a body shot back on me. So I feel like my body condition's really good for years of always body punching. People always hit me back in the body. So when I'm like 190, I'll walk around and when I'm sparring the lads, I'll let them hit me, but I'll put my hands up and that. Do you know what I mean? But as soon as it comes down and I'm not far off fight weight, like I find myself getting hurt. I find myself like I can feel my ribs and I'm wincing on body shots and stuff, and I'm never like that. Jiu-jitsu sometimes the lads are lying on me. I feel like they're crushing me. I'm like, you're fucking crushing me because
Mm,
I think my body fat's getting down to like 10%,
yes, yeah.
and you shouldn't. It's just a little bit too little. Like I'm fragile. Um, as when obviously when I'm gonna get up to like 205, but when I walk around like 195, like I'm sound. You know what I mean? I'm like solid. Like
Yeah.
I don't ever get hit or hurt to the body, or no one ever crushes me when they're lying on me. It's mad.
That's something that you just reminded me of. As the days go on, as fight days getting closer and closer, of course, if you have to make weight to lose weight, basically, as you're losing weight, that layer of fat is diminishing more and more and more, and that layer of cushioning that would normally protect you, I think it makes sparring and training of all kind of that much harder, isn't it?
Yeah, I just feel like you feel my ribs. You can get your fingers on the bottom of your ribs and that. Like it's
Mm.
just not fucking. It's not nice. It's not healthy.
Yeah.
Don't feel like you don't take headshots as good either. Like feel like your brain rattles. It's just not good for you.
Okay, so I want to talk about because of time. Anyway, I'm going to ask one question that people might find more relevant to the conversation. Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor. Now, people have been talking about this fight for what seems like forever, and I think by now, I think it's even the UFC have made it obvious and clear that it's not going to happen, at least not for now. But have you ever been in a situation whereby you've been preparing for a fight and then without warning at the last minute, your opponent pulls out? And has there ever been an occasion whereby that's happened, but you don't get a proper reason response as to why it's happened?
No, I've never had that happen to me, mate.
No, your opponent's never
No,
pulled out.
no. I pulled out of one last year, which once again I fucking done something to my
Yes,
ribs when
yes.
I body weight come down, but that was like 2 weeks prior,
Okay.
um, or like 10 days prior, I think. But yeah, I felt horrible, mate. I suppose it wasn't really my decision because my coach pulled me, but um, we've done some sparring because I'd been nursing it for weeks to this point, and I was like 10 days out, and oh shit. Oh, my body's dying. I was like 10 days out and I was like, fucking, my rib was still bad. And I sparred one of our lads. I said, go for it. You know, my rib's bad. I need you to go for me. Do you know what I mean? And I was fighting. I had like one hand down by my side, fighting with one hand. Like, he was hurting me, but I was pissed off that I couldn't. Do you know what I mean? But my coach was like, no. I just don't do any jiu-jitsu now on a couple of weeks before my fights because I just hurt myself.
I
And obviously,
think based on what you said about the army and some other politics, maybe I think we still have a lot to talk about in probably in a separate another episode. I mean, we're happy to have you back on the show, probably at an earlier
yeah,
time where we've got more time so I can really pick your brains. Last but not by no means least, any shout outs you want to give out to anybody and any affiliates out there?
yeah, so it's all my sponsors really, mate. Like with the fish, they're my clothes sponsor. They were there from day one. After my first fight, he came to speak to me and said, "I want to get you on board." And then I've got loads. I've got Uncle Phil PS events, TH Production. My mate Mace, he sorts all the tops out, does the banners, and then all the others like WMS. He's got a garage. My mate Tom. He gave me 500 quid. I've got Scott Mack round the corner. He gave me £1,000 a few months ago for like the next two camps.
Nice,
Um,
nice.
who else gave me money? Yeah, now my mate Sean Mack, his boss, gave me some money, and then Abby's boss, he gave me 500 quid for this camp. Like, so it's been good. All us also them sort of sponsors, like it takes the weight load off me so I can train more without worrying about the money side of things.
Mhm.
Um, obviously been my coach Scott, he's been there since day one, and I've got my training partner Aaron. He lost on the FCC, got wrestled, and he got subbed in the first round, but his striking's really good, Aaron. So that was the only way that kid was going to survive in there. There's no way he would have stood with him. But
Sure.
I suppose with some of these amateur fighters, you don't really see much tape on them. He doesn't got much of a background, so you don't really know what you're getting in for. And then you get double leg straight away, and then also he's coming with like a Khabib hat on afterwards. So it's like you get out wrestled by someone who wears one of them hats. So it's what's got to take on it, you know. And then
Wow.
my other coach. So I've got a coach, Eric Silva, who fights Cage Warriors. He's out in Brazil at the minute. Just waiting on him on him to come back because I'm still not graded, still not been given a belt in jiu yet. Like I'll be entering a purple belt comp this year. Um, but yeah, I spoke to Eric. He said as soon as he comes back, he's going to give me a blue straight away, and then obviously I can start building from that then. And then one of the other coaches, Dino, he's the first British fighter to win a left weight world title. I train with him up in Orangeburg, so he's perfect for it for me now with the elbows and stuff. Obviously going into the pro game.
Hmm. Okay.
That's it, really, mate. Yeah, and I was on my best mate, and I don't really give him a shout out ever. Yeah, he done the wake up with me. He done the sauna, so it was like 3 hours in the sauna, and then an hour and a half sweat bath afterwards, and then another hour bath in the morning, and that was all on like 2 days no food and water as well. So, um, he done the whole thing with me. He nearly killed him, like, but it's good for him because he's going to fight eventually. So it's good. It's good so he can learn.
Yeah,
I'll have to do that, but
get used to it.
yeah. It was good of him to do it. He didn't have to do that. Do you know what I mean? It was just me and him in the sauna. He just sat with me the whole time.
Okay. Jay, look, thank you so much for coming on the show, and definitely we'll have to get back on at some point, probably after your first pro fight. Any idea when
Yeah.
you got when your first pro fight is going to be on the cards?
So FCC now will be September and then usually December. So there's no others in, but there's other promotions in between. But like I've only ever fought FCC. I've been with him since day one. That's why I've like there's a lot of amateur lads in this country with way more fights than me, but I've got the FCC title. Do you know what I mean? So it's because just to fight FCC, you're fighting usually the best amateur fighters. Do you know what I mean? So you want to go and get wins on these little backdoor promotions all over the country, then you're not really progressing yourself to win any sort of major amateur title, are you? Do you know what I mean? Because you could be fighting and like you see them, don't you? And fighting in a nightclub and in a mismatch with some kid who doesn't got a corner team or something. It's like, but yeah, I'll probably just stick FCC. They've always been good to me,
Okay.
and yeah, try
Yeah.
and have a little run at that. I reckon, I don't know, say what, undefeated amateur going in 3-4-0 as a pro. I could probably be able to start asking for that FCC middleweight title, I would imagine. But yeah, I'll just take each fight as it comes. And obviously, the caliber of fighters is going to improve in it. So, but when I size up the pros, I think some of them are really good, and some of them are fighting for the wrong reasons, and they're not. And I just look at them and think, why? I wonder why you're in here just to get a couple £100 or whatever much the purse is.
Really?
They don't have tickets. Many tickets gone. They get announced. No one's really in the crowd, and you're like, and then they get done in. And you think, well, yeah, I think they're there for the wrong reason. They're fighting for the wrong reasons. I mean,
Really?
yeah, that's what I believe anyway. Because you see somebody look done in, look weathered and done in, and they don't look that good either. And you think,
Yeah.
why are you fighting pros? Like, what? Must be the purse, honestly. Do you know what I mean?
Anyway,
Gotta
look,
be.
I will not keep any longer because you said you have to you got some clients at 4:30. So
Yeah, I got a pad. I'm in a monkey house now after this.
guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you did which you listen this far, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It helps me a lot to grow the platform. And also you can catch the audio versions of this podcast on Spotify, iTunes, and Google Podcasts, and on other audio platforms as well. Jay, thank you once again. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Catch up soon, mate.